All right, let's go live. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome back to episode number 14 of the Blossoming into You show. I'm your host, Miko Lau. And today with us, we have Kellita all the way from Bay Area. Well, not too far from me, but we're going to be talking about how to come alive and feel safe and present in our bodies with conscious burlesque. It's such a fun topic, and I cannot wait to dive in. So with that being said, Kalita, welcome to the show. Would you like to share with the audience just a little bit about you and what is it that you do?
Sure. Thank you, Miko, so much for having me. I love the title, Blossoming into You. It's so visceral. It's so, yeah, so beautiful. And yeah, I've been working at the intersection of the performing arts, the embodied performing arts, specifically burlesque dance, and spirituality and psychology, where the three of those meet. That's where I've been experimenting and playing and teaching and working. And um, yeah, it might seem funny, like, oh, how to feel safe through doing conscious burlesque. That might sound a little bit like, what do you mean? In burlesque, if anyone listening isn't familiar with that term, it's a form of performing art where usually the artist is, over the course of a song, dancing and removing pieces of their clothing along the way. I mean, that's the basic, simple, like what's happening usually. And yeah, first of all, I'll say the thing that most has captured my attention in the both performing and guiding women. I primarily have worked with highly sensitive women, actually women who feel a lot and have a lot of empathy and a lot of sensitivity. And um, these women in particular, and I include myself in that group.
Me too.
Yeah. um, Coming and living in our bodies, it's just not a given. We tend to live up here. We're feeling like hundreds and thousands of miles out.
Yeah.
We're feeling our partners, our parents, our coworkers, everything they're feeling. Like our body is literally, we are like jumping into the bodies automatically, not meaning to, of everybody else. And this practice of actually coming home, um, first, like the first key, absolutely. And I have a little post-it note. These are the three things that make um, practicing with burlesque. If we are practicing these three things when we're creating and performing our act, this is what brings us into our body and makes sure that it is safe, and then we feel alive and present. And I can talk about these in a minute, but I just want to show it because it's tangible.
Yeah. No, I love that you came prepared and like so far, Kalita, I just love everything that you're sharing. And there's a divine reason that me and you got connected because these 3 points that you just brought up, spirituality and embodiment, I think you said,
Yes,
psychology,
yes.
that's exactly what I'm about as well. I did
Yay.
my BA in psychology in Berkeley, and then I started my spiritual awakening journey like around 2018. And I very
I love
recently
it.
started embodiment work via pole dancing. And
Yes,
I,
amazing. Okay.
yeah, and I'm so glad that we are bringing consciousness into a topic like burlesque and pole
Yeah.
dancing. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so much false ideas and stigma that's been placed around dancing, like a beautiful art form like this.
Yeah.
But when my experience, like personally being surrounded in a room of like powerful women that are just so in tune with our bodies, like it's so empowering. Like that space, we do it for ourselves, and it
Yes.
it's really time for us to bring consciousness into this topic. So like, thank
Yes.
you for being on here.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. And I love that. I mean, I love that we have connected and are just now right in front of any wonderful person who's watching, discovering even we have even more in connection. That delights me. I think one thing is, it's um these, if you want to call them the sensual performing arts, or the arts in which we are actually saying, um, I'm giving you permission on my terms to see me in my embodied power. I mean, my whole body gets little shiver wivers even just to say it. It can go either way. It's not just because we're doing burlesque or pole dance or whatever it is that it's automatically empowering. It's not
Mhm.
automatically empowering.
Mhm.
It's empowering if we're actually in our bodies. It's possible to perform burlesque and be very dissociated. And it's possible to be attracted to it and think, oh, here's an empowering art form,
Mhm.
but to still not be in your body and to let
Mhm.
people see you when you're actually not there. And I don't find that empowering. So
Mhm.
my my mission, one of them, is really to um, help, first of all, myself, because I created all of this because I need it first, and then I'm happy to share it, and that's how this work has grown. Um, to make sure that we're here and that we're actually choosing consciously every second what kind of permission we're giving other people. And it's not like a blanket thing. I can't just say, oh, I'm sure that I'm going to feel like revealing myself in exactly the way I have planned in my choreography with exactly this audience. I may have a different experience when I'm there. In that room on that day, I may not feel like removing my bra, even if at one 2/3 of the way into the song, that's where I've choreographed that I'm supposed to shimmy my shoulders and remove my bra. I would say, to keep it conscious, if you don't feel it, then change your freaking choreography. Who you are, where your spirit is actually animated, and what information it's giving you in your body, because our body and our mind and our spirit, I do not see as separate. They work as a unit. Our language separates them, our learning, we learn about them as three different things. They are completely united. And when we try to separate them, we dissect ourselves out of our power. So, yeah, I have a
I,
line.
I
Oh, go
just
ahead.
love that. Oh, I just love it. It's like and that's how I flow as well. Like in everything that I do, like in my coaching with my clients and like building my business, I am the type of person like for mainstream society, it may be like irresponsible. It's very spontaneous, but I love to like trust the flow. Like in this moment, that's where I can bring my forwards. Like you said, if you flow based on what the energy in the moment is, like and you listen to your body, you listen to the wisdom of your body, what it's telling you. And a lot of the times, that's not something you can plan ahead. I mean, yes, you can set an intention, but then, like, in the moment, it's like really you're deepening your relationship with yourself in such an intimate way. And you're learning how to listen to that spiritual aspect of you. Yeah.
Yes, which speaks loudly through our bodies. So, this most spiritual traditions, the larger ones anyway that I'm aware of, are about this journey of transcending and of going up, 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 up out of the
Mhm,
body, literally,
mhm, mhm,
into some area where there's a kind of a neutral, more just this disembodied light place. And my much higher interest is coming down, 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 down into the body, into the mess of the body,
yeah.
into the squishiness and the feelings, and having all of that, because that especially for highly sensitive folks, this coming down
Mhm,
is the most important journey. We
mhm.
live up here. We will never not be connected to that transcendent, that sense of being connected to all the things. We need this. We need to know, oh my God, these are my cheeks. These are my hands doing jazz hands. These are my shoulders doing the shimmy. And when
Yes.
we know, and I find super, super helpful to do this in community, and in community of other women,
Mhm.
and literally seeing each other into our specific existence.
Mm. So my visualization, I'm a very visual person. Like when you say coming down to the body, it's like we are bringing our spiritual self into humanity, like into a human experience. And I totally get what you're saying, Kellita, because like before I started diving into embodiment practices and being in the central work of pole dancing, like I definitely lived from here and up. Like I was always in my mind, I was always in the doing,
Yeah.
totally forgetting about my beingness, like who am I being, and no connection with my body because of all of the shame and the guilt around my sexuality and my sensuality. Like so just totally disconnected. And I've done so much work in personal development growth. I've read all the books, I went to all kinds of seminars, but it was all just like the intellectual, right? Like the
Yeah.
conceptual. I got it, but then I didn't get it.
Yeah.
So, and it was when I started doing embodiment work, that's when I felt like everything that I knew from my mind just dropped into my body. Like I finally felt what it feels like to be worthy, to love myself, like all of these concepts. So it's
Yeah.
so powerful.
They're very physical. They're very physical. It's yeah, it's
I just love this topic. And it's like, I feel like so many women get to discover this. Like, so
yeah.
many of us are trained and conditioned to be intellectual. And we just forgotten like the power that lies within us in our bodies.
Um,
Yeah.
there's a term that I learned from a form of creativity called interplay.
Mm.
Um, and they call people who are pursuing things like us body intellectuals. And I like
Oh,
that because
I
we're
like
quite
that.
sophisticated with how we understand and explore. So it is an intellectualism, but it's a body intellectualism. It's not a disembodied intellectualism.
Oh, I love that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna adopt that term.
Yeah. Yeah. Body
Yeah.
intellectual. Comes from
So, so Kalita, I want you to dive into the little note that you have because I'm very intrigued.
Oh
I
yeah,
read it.
absolutely.
Revel,
For sure.
reveal, and receive.
Revel, reveal, and receive. These I see them in a visual way also. They're these three pillars, like big, like you would see on a Greek structure, reveling, revealing, and receiving. And the longer phrase is reveling in the body, revealing your radiant essence, your radiant, unrepeatable essence, and receiving what you actually desire. I get body shivers just saying them. So
Me too.
ah, so the reveling, it's having all of our feelings and all of our sensations, um not excommunicating or numbing out any of them, like having it, having our anger. That was a super, I still am learning how to have just basic anger. Yeah. Having our grief, having our joy, any of it gets capped, all the rest gets capped. And it's where it's also sensations, all the sensations like tingles and um everything, just everything a body can feel. And it's our beingness, really. Yeah. The reveling in our body is having our beingness. And how do we know we're having our beingness? Very basically, like, ooh, am I hungry? Am I cold? This is how we know our beingness in a very tangible way. And then revealing a radiant essence can only happen once we're reveling, because we can't reveal something that doesn't have its host in it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So we have to be home. But that essence, it's just like our fingerprint is unrepeatable. That's just a little example of this whole thing. Your whole you, the amount to which you or I don't express and live ourselves means that never exists. I mean, it's really powerful. I think a lot of us highly sensitive folks try to curtail and shrink ourselves because it feels like, oh, I want to make sure that everybody else has their chance and gets to take up their space. But me shrinking doesn't help anybody else ever.
Can you repeat the the part when you say like we're not fully expressing. What was it?
Oh gosh,
Can
I'm
you
not
repeat
sure.
that again?
I don't know. We might have to go back and look. I think it's that if I don't express and reveal my own gifts and perspective in the world, and the same for you, the same for every single person on the planet, if we don't do that, it doesn't mean that there's going to be anything good. It doesn't mean that, oh, now someone else will be able to. No, it just means we won't. Me shrinking myself down makes no good. There's no benefit to it.
Got it.
But there's a lot of reasons why we shrink that go beyond the scope of our conversation today. It's all kinds of trauma. Boom, boom trauma, drip, drip trauma, all different varieties, intergenerational pain that we are still responding to, somehow all related to some kind of trauma that we do this,
And
but
lack
it's,
of safety.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's not doing the good that we're wishing it might. So so doing the steps to come into feeling safe, being seen, is so worth it. Even though it seems like, oh, I'm just doing this for myself, it's actually not true. Any work I do to individuate, to come into my full self, it is my biggest gift to the world. Period. My well-being, coming into myself, is my biggest gift to the world. Period.
Yeah. And the analogy I love to use all the time is like I think of the sunshine, right? If we're all covered up in clouds and storms, like we don't get to shine and radiate our light and warm the others in our presence. So yes, everything you're saying.
Love that. And it goes with beautifully with the blossoming into you, yeah? The
Yeah.
sun feeding the plants and the plants opening, and I love that. Oh my gosh. Oh, we didn't talk about receiving.
Yes, so important. Ooh.
That's it's really big. And there's a lot of aspects to receiving what we desire. It means first, it presupposes that we know what we desire, which is not true for most of us. Without some very careful, loving, gentle, almost like peeling back the layers to find out, what do I actually want? We might be living the wants of a lot of people who we love, who are around us. It's complicated. But first, just getting there, finding, oh my gosh, I actually want this thing. Whoa, surprise. And then reaching for it, actually making a movement coming from our beingness that we've carefully cultivated and excavated, and then reaching for it. And then I would even say that once it's here, we'll just make it up and say it's a job. Say it's a job that you really want this job. And you might even get the job. The job is offered to you. You begin it. You're there sitting in your chair in this new place doing this job you wanted, but you may be still filled with a worry that, oh no, it really should have gone to someone else. I don't know what I'm doing. We may not actually show up there and have it. I don't know if this is the best example I'm giving. I pulled it out of the air, but it can be as simple as a piece of cake. Even if you want to, you really want to eat a piece of cake and you've got it on the plate in front of you, you've got your fork. You take that first bite, it goes in your mouth. But to
I
really
mean,
go ahead.
Kalita, another powerful example, and I mean, all of us can relate to it's like having sex. Like sometimes we're in the process, but then like our mind is just like constantly worrying about, okay, am I looking good? Is my body like all of us can relate to it.
Bingo. Yeah. So in that case, you're not actually receiving it. You're not having it. You're there. Your body's doing it, but you're not in full receptivity, which is like the most on the archetypal sense, femininity. Really, it's just receptivity. And masculinity, archetypally, is just assertiveness. So this quality of receiving is like the most feminine. I've actually never looked at it through the 3 R's in that way. So thank you. I got to travel here because my brain is here with your brain and they're doing things. Yeah, that is the most feminine place, is to be able to completely receive. But to do that, yeah, we can't be.
It's like in full surrender in
Yeah.
your body. Yeah, and that's something I've been really playing with as well. Like in my journey, there's a mantra I just shared it with my audience yesterday. It's like,
Oh yeah.
how do you receive a hell yes penetration of life, whatever that
Oh
looks
yeah.
like,
Oh,
right? Like,
preach, mama. Yeah. How do you
yeah.
receive that? Talk to me a little about that. Yeah.
So I mean, I'm practicing it. I'm playing with this concept. To me, what it looks like is like really receiving every moment as it unfolds in front of me, without resisting it, without fighting it, without judging it, like needing it to look a certain way, and just be like, this is what's here, and how can I fully receive this? Like a hell yes penetration, right? Like not fighting back, not blocking myself off, and just being in that full surrender. It's been liberating. Like playing with that has been really liberating in so many ways.
That is extremely beautiful.
Mhm.
Um, and I'll like add a hit around something that came up when you said that.
Yeah.
It's also because saying no has been a thing that I have been taking a long time to learn in my life, and just knowing like, where is my edge? Where is my no? Because I really
Mhm.
truly believe we can't have a full yes unless we have the ability to know what our no's are. Like they come
Yeah.
hand in hand. If our no is kind of wimpy and not clear, our yes can't be clear. So
Mhm. Mhm.
in that full surrender, at least like for where I am in my path and what feels useful, is to surrender in like whatever's happening, completely acknowledge it.
Mhm.
But if it's different from what I would prefer, to know that too, and to say no and to make a different choice.
Mm.
So it's almost just like an extra layer.
Yes, I think that's important. I 100% believe in like knowing your boundaries, and that goes back to what you mentioned. Like you get to know what you even desire, to know those no's, and like to know a hell yes, you need to know what's a hell no for you.
Yeah.
And that's all about coming back to knowing yourself in that deeply intimate level. And a lot of the times we can't know that unless we are deeply connected to our bodies. So, such an important topic. As we're wrapping up, Kalita, I would
Yeah.
love for you to share just a little bit about, for anyone tuning in today, if this is the first time ever, like discovering embodiment, like why is it
Yeah.
so important? Where would you recommend or suggest that they start?
Oh my goodness. Through just like a little practice, or
Like, where would you say they go? Maybe like, do they take a class? Do they find a mentor? What would you say is the best way?
um I think it kind of I think if we're looking at just grand scale, like this embodiment, I think I'd recommend for someone to choose some kind of physical practice or form that they enjoy. I mean, there's so many different ones. Like, um, there's a certain kind of embodiment that happens through yoga class. Yeah, there's a different feeling um, through um, doing burlesque or pole dance or tai chi. So I'd first kind of
Mhm.
just ask that person, what are you, even if you've never done it, what are you kind of attracted to? Like you've seen it, you
Mhm.
said, no, I couldn't do that. I don't know. Yeah. And then go from there, and then choose that thing, and then choose your guide. Um, choose your guide with care also. Like, don't sign up for 29 classes in something until you've actually maybe been in the room with that teacher at least once, and now the Zoom room, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
if they have videos or writings or a book so that you can read what is their point of view, and make sure that that point of view jives with you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
Mhm.
it's very, very helpful. I'm not very good at doing things solo. Just like, oh, I think I'll just take this online class or just read a book and do it myself. I'm not like that. I like to work in small groups with a teacher that I really enjoy and I share a point of view with. And that's how I do it.
Mm.
So, but as far as which variety, I think that's really up to the person and what calls them.
Yeah, and I can almost guarantee, like, almost every woman out there has this deep desire. Like, they don't want to talk about it, but they really always wanted to try maybe burlesque or pole dancing. At least that's my experience. Like, when I authentically, with vulnerability and transparency, share with my audience, like, hey, that's what I'm doing, and sharing with them my journey, I've got so many messages from like women everywhere, my friends, like, I've always wanted to do pole dancing. And my answer, my response to that is like, what's holding you back? Why don't you just go for it?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so liberating when you can say yes to things that you've been wanting to do and not caring at all what other people think. Yeah,
And you can also do it privately for as long as you want. You don't
exactly.
have to share it with everyone. It
Yeah,
can be your thing.
it can absolutely be your like private sacred practice that you
Totally.
don't have to share with anyone, but do it for you. If you're feeling called for it, do it for you.
Yeah.
So
I think
Khalid,
this feels just really quickly important that
yeah.
um you I think there's this notion that I've worked with many women who say, oh, I've never danced before. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Can I do this? And I'm going to tell this is the flat out truth. When I've worked with women who had professional dance experience or lots of performance experience, they have much more to unlearn. When
Mm,
I work with someone who has had no dance experience or no little to no performance experience, it's actually much simpler because
mhm,
in this conscious way of performing, it's just these simple archetypal movements that are so powerful. Um, it's not about fancy steps. In fact, it's about actually being able to be still, doing some conscious, simple movement, and then actually coming to stillness and letting us see you in your stillness. It's crazy breathtaking. So it's actually better if you've had very little experience, is
uh,
what I know. Yeah.
I love it. I can definitely relate. Like, I remember when I first took my pole class, like, I was just in my mind, constantly thinking, am I doing it right? Am I following the footsteps? But then, like, the more and more I'm dropping into my body, the more it's coming almost from like the core of me, and then letting that guide me and pull me and like flowing with the music. It's amazing.
So good.
Yay. I love this conversation so much. And Kalida, I would actually
Okay.
love to have you back
I was
again.
going to
Like,
say, let's do more later. Yeah.
yes, I'm actually, and this is like a sneak peek for our audience if you're listening all the way to the end. I'm hosting a 1 day event coming up on
Ooh,
February 22nd. So it's like a live virtual workshop where I bring on uh powerful speakers like you, and we will do a interactive engagement with the
wow.
audience so they can ask a live Q&A. And then
Oh my gosh.
yeah, if you are available, I would love to
I'm
have
checking
you.
right now. It's
It'll be really
February
fun.
22nd, a Monday. Yes.
Yeah, it's Monday
I'm
from 9
free.
a.m. to 2 p.m.
Count me
Okay,
in.
awesome. So we will talk about this like off camera, and I'll send
Okay.
you the details, and then we'll get that going. I think it'd be really fun to have a live audience here. Maybe we can even do some like live movement
That sounds great.
practice, something like that. Get it into the body so they can feel what we're talking about. Yeah. All
So
right.
wonderful, Nico. Yeah.
Yay. Thank you so much for the work you're doing.
Thank
And
you.
thank you so much for being a guest on here today. And
Absolutely.
for anyone listening, like, if you are resonating with this topic, like, go follow that voice, go follow that calling, and come join us again on February 22nd and meet Kalita live, meet me live, and you can ask any questions you have. It'll be a really fun time.
Yes.
All right. And until then, we will see you on our next episode. Sending so
Yes.
much love your way.
Yay.